Hi everyone, if the tech gods cooperate, the OT Guide to Completing a Functional Capacity Assessment online course will be available this time next week, so by the 31st of January. So to get you a little more excited, here is a copy of the Your OT Tutor Functional Capacity Assessment Process flowchart. Who doesn't love a flowchart when you're dealing with something as complicated as the NDIS? So I'll give you a super quick run through now, but to find out more about each step, then of course you'll need to sign up for the course. So the first thing to note is that the text written in dark blue are important components that I highly recommend you complete for every FCA that you undertake, while the light blue text indicates components that are more optional depending on your client or your workplace protocols. The process starts when you receive the referral to complete an FCA for a client. There are certain things that you should try to find out if it's missing from the referral information so that you can prepare for your FCA as best as possible. Next comes that pre-assessment planning. You shouldn't just rock up to an initial assessment with a new client and just wing it, especially if you're an OT that is new to the NDIS. You'll just be setting yourself up for a huge challenge. So you can use strategies such as a pre-assessment call to the client or planning your interview approach using an OT model to help make that initial assessment run smoothly and efficiently. The next step is to complete your initial face-to-face assessment. And I say face-to-face, but in some instances you may complete this assessment via telehealth instead. This initial assessment should include an interview component where you ask the client and or any of the support people that are present about your client's daily routines, observations of the client completing their daily activities, home environment assessment, and then the completion of some standardized assessments to gather objective information about your client's functional needs. The next step is the optional step. So sometimes if your client has limited NDIS funds, you may only be able to spend one visit gathering the information you need for a report. But if their funding allows and you need more time to complete further assessments before finalising your recommendations, then you may do a follow-up assessment visit. After your initial assessment, you might also need to liaise with others. So these others could be other health professionals, your client's family or informal supports, or formal supports such as support workers or their support coordinator. There may also be some reports that you could read so that you can provide more specific details in your own report or help you feel more confident that you've captured an accurate picture of your client's needs. The next step, once you've completed the information gathering, is to put together your recommendations and discuss them with your client and their support network. So you should always make sure that you go back to your client or their support network and confirm that the recommendations you intend to make in your report are in line with what they are agreeable to. So at times this can be challenging if the client's expectations don't match your clinical reasoning or the NDIS reasonable and necessary guidelines, but you should still have this discussion to ensure your practice is client-centred. Once you're all on the same page, the report writing should take place. So this will include a detailed outline of the client's current function and environment and a clear list of the recommendations for what NDIS funding is required in their next plan. Once your draft is complete, an optional step you may include now is to check the content of your report with your client or have another staff member complete a cross-edit to ensure the quality of your report content. How this is done will vary between OT companies, which is why I've just left it as an optional step in the process. The final step of the process is to submit the report. So again, exactly how this is done may vary between OT companies and clients, but it could involve sending a final copy of the report to the client or their support coordinator or directly to the NDIS inquiries email to be uploaded directly to the participant's file. So that's an overview of my approach to completing a functional capacity assessment. If you'd like to find out more about each of these steps, including 2 case studies where I will walk you through this process step by step, then go to the comments and click on the link to sign up to find out more about the full online course. Thanks for watching.